Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream. It's been a while since we've been live and it's been a chaotic summer at Chelsea. Kickstarted the Premier League campaign with a defeat to Manchester City yesterday, but yeah, we're going to talk about the latest, which is Joao Felix joins Chelsea on a permanent deal. Conor Gallagher is once again off to Spain for a second try at completing that deal, which pretty much the green light is there. Obviously, the here we go is in place. And it means that we finally get to have some clarity with what's happening with that situation. And of course, the Raheem Sterling statement is also to be discussed because that has really sparked another conversation. There is more chaos, more drama happening at the club as if we don't have enough of that already. But I hope everyone's doing well. I know the Tottenham Leicester game is underway. I think that's still 0-0. Yes, it is. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you guys have enjoyed the game. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of negatives coming around on social media. Some people are a little bit more composed. I think I am probably with the fans that aren't reading too much into yesterday's game, but equally, there are things that we'll discuss. We'll talk about the game, we'll talk about Felix, we'll talk about Gallagher, we'll talk about Sterling. But if you're watching and you've not liked this stream, then please do so. It helps massively, gets it shared around. So please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And yeah, I can see a lot of comments coming in. So thanks so much to everyone that's joined. But yes, Joao Felix 2.0, he returns this time on a permanent move. And I'm keen to find out how everyone's feeling about this one. But personally, I'm a bit skeptical. I think this deal was done more of a it kind of came to a situation where we had to pretty much maybe sign an Atletico player in order for the Gallagher deal to go through, because he was not on our radar. He's not been a discussion. He's not been someone we've been linked with over summer. And I just think it kind of came out of the blue. There is an argument as to where will Joao Felix play, because I think that's the big question now. We've got so many players, but I think there could be a link with the whole Sterling situation that's just now kind of unfolding. Perhaps it could mean that he is going to go away from Chelsea. It does free up, I guess, one spot there for a winger, but I think a lot of fans will argue that Joao Felix, some will say, is going to be best perhaps on the left wing. Others might say he's better in the 10. But for me personally, I think Felix is one of those players that I think the idea of him is perhaps better than the output that you see on the pitch. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a brilliant player. I'm just kind of struggling to see where he fits. Is he in the plans to be a first teamer? Is he somebody that we could be bringing off the bench as perhaps a more kind of attacking force, something different, a bit energetic? And yeah, what is the plan here? Because again, I think, and I said, and I made it really clear that I really want Chelsea to bring in a striker. We've, of course, been in talks and links have been happening, and still Victor Osimhen seems like it could be likely. And I would have much preferred perhaps for us to bring in a striker. And if we don't, then I don't think I'll be very satisfied with this transfer window. I don't think we'll be in the best place in terms of, competing for our targets this season. Now, again, this is not saying that Joao Felix is a bad player, by no means, but if there are exits happening in those departments, then this makes a lot more sense, certainly, because, again, there's question marks as to who starts, who plays, but I think I got this, and I don't know if anybody else kind of got this impression after the game yesterday with Enzo Maresca's conference. I think he's a little bit, what's the word? I think he's a little bit annoyed that there's still perhaps a lack of clarity in regards to who stays and who goes at Chelsea. And I imagine as a new manager who's just arrived, you want to have as much clarity as to which players you have at your disposal so you can start implementing your system as soon as possible. Because I imagine it's so tiring to have these expectations and to, want to win, obviously, your first Premier League games, but at the same time, you're not too sure who leaves the door next week. I think it could be sensible. The fact that obviously Sterling was left out, if he is to go, that makes perfect sense. And Yeah, but Joao Felix, interesting one. I think a lot of fans are happy. And again, I think with him is I'm so forever grateful that he provided some spark 2 seasons ago when he came on loan, because I think we were so desperate to see something, just anything remotely entertaining and good on the pitch, anything positive. And he delivered that, against Fulham on his kind of debut, where he did obviously get sent off. It was that kind of bright spark. And I think we've really needed that. So again, came in a time when it was pretty dark for us Chelsea fans, and we kind of automatically lifted. Obviously, he then returned, didn't sign or didn't kind of make a permanent move to Chelsea after that. But obviously, I think Pochettino was yeah, right. So let's see what some of you guys are saying, because I'm keen to get your thoughts on Felix. Daniel, hello. You say that Felix would be a great squad player. We need to sign a proper proven striker that can finish our chances, like an Osman or a Tony for next signing. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And look, again, if there are wingers on their way out the door, then perfect, makes sense. But bring me a striker, because again, Felix isn't that. I mean, look, the thing with Felix is there's still a question mark as to how clinical he can be. Can he provide you the numbers? We know he can do the cool flicks and tricks and the turns, and it's all great, on paper, but we really need players that are going to provide the numbers. And I still think that a striker is just a top priority. Liv, thank you so much. I love you so much, Nina. Good to see you. It's me, Liv. Got a question. Should we sell Sanchez? Thank you so much, Liv. By the way, it's great to see you in here again. I hope you've had a lovely summer. Sanchez is a great talking point, I think, particularly after the City game. And a lot of you who followed my content and have watched my videos over the last year, I've been skeptical about Sanchez since like day 4. Maybe the Forest game, I think, in particular, was the game I now solidified last year that I don't think Sanchez is going to be good enough at Chelsea. And again, prove me wrong, Sanchez, but the fact that I still kind of hold my breath when he's got the ball at his feet, I think he made some good saves against City, and I think equally got us into trouble a little bit with his distribution. And I mean, City pressed so well against us, and I think Sanchez really felt the pressure. But I think it could be problematic because we're going to face teams like that in the Premier League. And I guess the question is Sanchez a keeper that you compete with to get into top 4? I'm not too sure. Sanchez looks so nervous when he's on the ball with the ball at his feet. Lacks presence in the box. Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. Sanchez is worth signing. He is so bad. But look, at the moment, he seems like number 1 until Jurgensen kind of gets his game time. And I think potentially I've spoken with some fans that think he might get some game time against Servette on Thursday. So I don't know. We will see. I think, again, Jurgensen was signed to be a first teamer, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Man City was expected. That's okay. We did that all preseason. Come home, Joao Felix, also Osman. Yeah, key part being there with the Osman comment. Now, if we can get a proven sweeper, keeper, and also a leader in our defence, we are okay. Current squad. So you want to buy more players then, Arthur, I gather. I'm with you on the strike situation, but I don't think any keepers are coming in anymore, unfortunately. So yes, definitely need to win the Conference League. We'll talk about the Conference League too. If Chelsea wins the Conference League, we would win every single European trophy. Yeah, exactly, guys. I'm quite excited about the Conference League personally. New challenge, new experience. We'll have new visitors coming to visit us at the bridge. So again, and they're going to be fans that turn up and really produce an atmosphere. So hopefully that kind of ignites the Stamford Bridge, the matchday going fans, because I really think we need a lift in that stadium big time, because it's just simply not good enough. But yes, again, Arthur, you've got a lot to say here about, I see Enzo's name popping up. Winning the conference should be an immediate priority. There are no clubs there that should challenge us. If we miss that trophy, that's really on us. Yep, trophy is much needed. Despite our performance last night, I'm not so worried about our midfield. Lavia actually looks solid coming back from season-long injury. Enzo is confused, but fair enough. Yeah, again, Lavia, really good. That's a positive takeaway from City's game. If you haven't seen the match review, by the way, I did upload a match review this morning. You can check that out later or whenever you want. And we go into detail with the performance, the Man City obviously display, them winning quite comfortably. But yeah, Why Enzo's playing as a 10, I don't know, but Palmer there and bringing Enzo back where he can dictate the game more effectively. See, this is a really great point because I think the exact same. I don't think he's effective in that role, and I think it puts a lot of pressure, and not only, but I think it isolates our wingers massively as well with Enzo in the 10. Because again, I think in Nkunku, you're hindering him. Play him in the 10 rather. I really want to see that moving forwards because I think that he's so much more of a creator and a playmaker, and he can break down defenses. Like, we really needed to kind of be able to play through the middle, particularly against City, because there was just no way. They shut out our attack, our wingers so much, where it just meant we recycled constantly. Palmer was isolated, so was Nkunku. I think put him in the 10. He's much more effective. You could put Palmer there as well, equally. But again, I think we should really be utilising and pushing those creators, the playmakers that we finally now have, to hopefully provide service for whoever plays up top. I changed my profile, still upset Gallagher left. He was such a good player. Yeah, Gallagher, we'll talk about him shortly. Enzo should be further back. We kind of have too many sixes in our squad. Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, honestly, as midfielders, they play the same position with different attributes. Yeah, and I think, again, it's up to Maresca to kind of work that out. But I do agree with you, Arthur, that in terms of that kind of 6 role, again, I don't really want to see Enzo as far up as he was against Manchester City, because I just purely think he's really ineffective and it hinders his game. And then that's where he's under scrutiny, because arguably he's got the toughest job there, and he really did struggle against City, which is why I think it really amplified how poor his kind of individual display was in that game. But again, he just shouldn't really be in that role. I don't know why Enzo is captain, Palmer should be. Yeah, Liv, look again, that's all on Enzo. And I think, to be fair, I kind of feel sorry for him in the sense that it's a big, what's the word? It's a big responsibility to have and to be handed to you, particularly like in your second season, second year at Chelsea. And particularly with the fact that he is under so much scrutiny because he's not kind of made his name at Chelsea yet, and a lot of fans are kind of still unsure about him. I think it is a tough, and I mean, it just goes to say that we do lack leaders in the team, certainly, and I don't know where and how perhaps all the players are kind of getting their lift in the dressing room, their boost. But yeah, I mean, there is definitely a void of leaders in the squads, that is for sure, but I guess it will take time. But yeah, let's see what you guys are saying. Liv asks, do you want to buy any more players? I have one position and one position only, and I've spoken about it. Get it done. Otherwise, you could sign, you can continue signing and have a shopping spree, but it just would mean nothing, because I simply think that Chelsea needs a clinical striker this season. But let's say hello to some new faces. Well, not new face, Sam. Hello, nice to see you in here. Thank you very much for joining me. Mudryk to go on loan, Michael says. Mudryk is another interesting talking point, because we did see him feature a little bit in pre-season, but obviously he is another kind of question mark. But again, I think Maresca is slowly just going to work it out. There's going to be plenty of games as well this season. I think we need to remember that there's going to be enough minutes there available for players, and I think that it will come good. It doesn't help that Enzo doesn't know his strongest starting 11 first and foremost, let alone him trying to figure out, how he can interchange the system. Tottenham have scored. Pedro Porro. Yes, so let's have a look. Team build up is good, but scoring is our problem. We need a number 9. See, I guess we're all unanimous in that we should absolutely be signing someone that can be clinical. Again, we saw the same kind of weakness to Jackson's game as we did last season, where he does the good part. He will carry the ball. He picks it up. He can turn away from his defender, run up, and then that final kind of decision is just lacking. And again, he tries so hard to make it comfortable on his right foot. When he does that, he's already missed his opportunity to just shoot. And I've always said Jackson does better when he doesn't have thinking time on the ball. But again, is that really a trustworthy number 9 that you want to have? Because again, like the best attackers, and we've seen like the best number 9s, they just know. And you see it with Haaland, in that situation where he scored and punished us. It's just the know-how of knowing when to put it away, and I just think Jackson still lacks that. And then the other question is, do you trust someone like a Mark Gu, who's just arrived as 18 and barely has experience playing at this level? I kind of feel sorry for Enzo Maresca for having a hard time while picking who should play, as well. And he did get booed. I don't think it was nice. I know that I know that the fans are kind of very much have trust issues, and rightfully so, with managers at Chelsea these days, but I don't agree with booing the manager on his first game in charge, particularly when there's so much chaos still happening around him and he doesn't have any clarity with the final players and squad he will have in like 2 weeks' time. Don't think we should be signing anyone else. We need to focus on using some of what we've already bought or have in the youth team. I agree that, you know, it's now time to kind of start developing these players that we brought in, but still, bring me a striker. That's all I want this season. Felix will do well. 17 goals last season. Yeah, again, I do have my worries surrounding Joao Felix. I do think that still his end product, and like when you look at conversion and chances, it could be much better. I don't think he's had, you know, like the best time, and I think he's had some unlucky moments in his career. But of course, he's open and he's keen to move to Chelsea. You know, it's no secret to anyone that he's now completely was done, not in the plans for Atletico Madrid. That is such a big relief on their behalf that, you know, they've offloaded the wages, that they don't have this player on their books anymore. And frankly, yeah, it was in their best interest as well. And we'll talk about Conor Gallagher shortly, because obviously he's now an Atletico player as well. I did not see the whole Joao Felix thing, by the way, happening at the start of the window. And I think it just does go to show how spontaneous and erratic we have been. He is a winger or attacking midfield. Yeah, probably, I'd say. Sanchez is just a big kepper. Oh, hello, Nina. Can't believe you got him. What a signing. Yes, hello, Niall. What a signing. I don't know. How do rival fans, by the way, if there are any rival fans here in the chat, feel about Joao Felix as a player? Because obviously us Chelsea fans, I guess we do have a little bit of an affinity because he's been here before with us. But again, I'm just not too sure where he fits in the picture. But yeah, it's done now. It's a car. So Sam... Oh, just disappeared. It's a wait and see kind of signing for me. He's got a lot of talent, but very little output. Just hope he can develop into a really useful player for us. Yeah, me too. I'm skeptical, but prove me wrong, I guess. Let's see what this vision is. Josh asks also, Nina, do you think signing Felix will cause some pressure with Maresca due to picking game time with players like Madueke? Yeah, certainly. Like I said, we are now stacked in those departments, and you know, there's so much. Yeah, it's like, how do you figure it out? But I think it's a welcome problem to have. Again, there's going to be loads of minutes, but at the same time, you do kind of worry because there are a lot of, you know, we talk about Dewsbury Hall, like where does he fit into this plan? I don't think he's necessarily going to be a first team starter. Perhaps someone to come off the bench, but you do kind of worry that perhaps certain players will be accommodated for and perhaps others won't be utilized to their strengths, if that makes sense. And I do actually think that, yeah, that could be a problem. It might start to send a kind of bad message around the dressing room. Things could perhaps get toxic. But again, you know, we've got so much talent now. There is so much quality out at disposal. We just do really have to work out who fits where. Sanchez, prove us wrong, show us something. Yeah, please. Sanchez is a bomb scare at times. Was he not just like this at the start of next do you mean last season? Yeah, he was. Exactly why I just completely kind of closed off to him and was more than happy to see Petrovic balling out when he came in after his injury. We have 11 goalkeepers and we start Sanchez. What's going on? Well, I think, you know, Enzo Maresca made it pretty clear when he came in that he does take a liking in Sanchez and he would be number one until he tries Jurgensen. But, you know, we did buy him as well to be competing with Sanchez for that spot. So unfortunately, guys, that is the keeper that we are. Those are the keepers that we now have. We could have last year gone in for somebody and paid more money for perhaps a much more well-established keeper, but that ship has now sailed. Great show. Don't forget to smash the like, subscribe button. Yes, guys, what Niall said, make sure you are liking this stream. Thank you very much for everyone that's watching here. 24 of us. Obviously, I know that Premier League football, Monday Night Football is on. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone that's in here. Drop your comments in and your super chats. Exactly right. Would you go strong on Thursday or B team? Do we have an A and a B team right now? I feel like it's they're both kind of there is no A and B team yet. You know, we're still to figure out an A team to then figure out a B team. But I think he'll definitely make some changes. I think it will call for some switching up, but it does mean that we get to see other players kind of play under Maresca, which is obviously going to be great and welcome to have. And we could, again, a lot of fans think we might see Jurgensen in that game, so I guess we'll wait and see. I wanted Mamadashvili for young goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, what a brilliant display at the Euros for him. He was just unreal, easily the best keeper in there. But yeah, I think obviously I'm not too sure he's linked with Liverpool. I don't know if that's going to be a close move. It's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, what a bright future he has. And he's quite young as well, isn't he? He's for 23 or something, or maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's quite young. Hi Nina, the only good thing about this is the price. I think, don't you agree, the price kind of makes it sting less? Yeah, look, I agree. I do think that the fact that, you know, we haven't splashed so much cash, obviously he was an expensive loan when he came in, but I do understand that it was perhaps maybe, I still think, I can't help but think, guys, that we were kind of just shoved into a corner a little bit and spontaneously kind of decided to go for Joao Felix because we were really desperate to offload and get the Conor Gallagher one deal complete, done and dusted. But yeah, I guess time will tell. I'm not going to be completely closed off to him. I just want to see what the plan is. And yeah, but I'll hold my horses. Can you see Gallagher now leaving? Well, yeah. And that's obviously been confirmed that it is the case. He's on a plane back to Spain. He goes. I think the first time round was just pretty poor. I think the player just probably wanted it done as much as we did, as much as the club did. I think that was the priority. I'm not too sure why it took all summer as well. That's another thing. When we knew, we've pretty much known that Conor Gallagher is top of the sell list, and it has been for a while now. I mean, we considered it last summer. Didn't happen though. He stayed another season, and now we knew that, you know, again, he would have been the first and foremost player to sell for pure profit. I just don't really know why it dragged on for as long as it did. But I guess on our behalf, we were trying to make the most money out of it as we could. But obviously, I think we did annoy Atletico a little bit, so that one took a little bit longer. But I think we were in a good position because Atletico were really desperate to sign Conor Gallagher as well. But yeah, what a move for him. I do think that this is a great move for him. I mean, Conor Gallagher is such a physical midfielder. He's perfect for La Liga. I think he will really thrive there. So yeah, best of luck to him. No hard feelings. Thank you very much for all you've done, Gallagher. But yeah, it's done now. A lot of fans actually though in Matthew Harding Lower yesterday, guys, we're singing Conor Gallagher's name after we conceded to Manchester City. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting chant to have, talking about creating an atmosphere. I love Jackson, but we need a striker. It doesn't matter how many wingers or tens we buy if our striker can't shoot. Period. If I could pin this comment, I would. This is so true. It just really is. Again, we've got so many players that can do the pretty things, the nice little, step overs, and then maybe spam a cross in. But if you've got nobody to finish it, then you're done. Really. I mean, there's just no point. You're not going to be competitive. You're not going to be putting goals away. And frankly, we can't rely on Cole Palmer. It's unfair for us to expect him to hit the numbers that, you know, he did last season. Hello Paul, nice to see you in here. Quite the eventful start to the season for Chelsea. Yeah, but would you expect anything less from us? Wow, an unexpected live. Nina, good to see you back again. Chelsea, not as much though. Yeah, Michael, back again. Thank you very much for the support. Despite his age, would be perfect even for 2 seasons. He would be perfect, great link-up player, clinical finish. I assume you mean Ivan Toney here. Could be considered. Again, I would be open to a Premier League proven striker coming in. Action Jackson, he could be on our left wing. Great, another left wing. And then who's left up top? You know, unfortunately, you can't really play 8 wingers in a game. So yeah, we're gonna have to work that one out soon. Hey Nina, I definitely feel Joao is a no-brainer. He knows the league players and is experienced and young. He ticks all the boxes. Osimhen will be finishing. Yeah, look, guys, you know, keep convincing me. And again, I said I'm open to this move. It could work out well. I'm not going to be complaining if his output is great and he is a first team or whatever he is. But again, I'm just more keen to see an Nkunku thrive this season. I don't want it to be a case that again, this kind of leaves him hanging, or he's a bench warmer. Nkunku should not be a bench warmer. Nkunku should be, unanimously, we should all agree, a first team player for Chelsea this season. I've not waited as long as I have just for Nkunku to be on the bench or in a B team or whatever. That just can't happen. And this is my only worry with this move. Outplayed, outmatched, outfought. I did a watch along to the game. It was horrific, but it wasn't 5 or 6, I guess. I don't think it was that awful, guys. Seriously, strap in. There's going to be some tough games this season for Chelsea. We know where we are. Are you excited for Felix to be on the team? To be honest, we need some Portuguese. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, we've just been talking about him. I imagine I'm quite behind on comments, guys. I do waffle a lot, don't I? Yeah, okay, so let's talk about, Arthur's just said, Nina, forget about our comments, tell us what you feel and experience at the bridge. What I experienced at the bridge, guys, so again, really happy to be back. I just was happy to head down to Stamford Bridge again. It was sunny, it was good. I think perhaps as fans, and I've seen a lot of things on Twitter today that fans kind of wish that we could really up the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge, and I do wish the same. And if there are any other match going fans, you will know that it is kind of tough sometimes when, I mean, I understand, especially when it's like a weekend's fixture and it's early in the day, to be so hyped up for a game, but seriously, as fans, we have to do so much better to create an atmosphere in there, because we do our little chance the liquidator, then we've got our carefree Chelsea and all of that, but seriously, it just needs to be much better, because we need to get behind the players, I think. And I read something today which was very true. Like, we want the players to ignite us, but we need to actually ignite kind of the atmosphere there, create the atmosphere and support the players, because again, nothing good's going to come from being negative about our first game, guys. Seriously, like, I refuse. I've been there far too many times in the last 2 seasons where I felt so distraught and just so numb after defeat and just horrible things at Chelsea. I refuse to get negative so early on. Time will tell, and yeah, rinse and repeat. I know I sound like a broken recorder saying give time, but nothing good will come from booing Maresca in his first game. Nothing good will come from booing the players when they're just really trying to figure out things as well. Yes, okay, I'm very happy to question things. If we get down to 5, 6, 7 games and things just look like they're not improving and there's no direction, idea of any intent of picking up points, then yeah, we can really kind of start to worry. But I think the fans, we just need to get behind the players and create this atmosphere. A lot of them are new. A lot of them have barely played senior football as well, and I imagine it's quite hostile for them at times if it's a quiet stadium and they feel like every single pass, every single tackle, every single shot is so heavily scrutinized. But yeah, otherwise, great to be back at Stamford Bridge. And I mean, I guess it's good that we'll be returning for a lot more games. Obviously, Conference League, I'll be there on Thursday. That will be a new whole other experience. But yeah, Conor Gallagher, though. Conor Gallagher, obviously, we've been told that he's on his way to Spain. I'm just happy that that's kind of been done and dusted, because I think it was a kind of worry, and I didn't agree that he should be among the exiled players not training with the first team. I'm just glad that there's clarity, it's done, we can kind of move on from that as well, because we've been there with players that are just, you don't know what's happening. Are they staying, are they going? But yeah, that is a priority that's kind of ticked. And yeah, Liv says, my dad wants more chants from the fans. We are silent. Me too. But there's only so much I can start a chant, guys. I chat a lot, but there's only so much I can do. Hello, Gary. Chelsea are shambles. Maresca will be gone by December. No, I've banned everyone from saying Maresca out. You're not allowed to. It's not allowed. And he just unfollowed Chelsea Football Club on Twitter. Who did? Who's unfollowed Chelsea FC on Twitter? But yeah, guys, a lot happening. I think, again, most of the people are taking some negative things away from the Man City game. I think I'm overly just ready and open to give time to see Maresca implement his system, because again, like, what other choice do we have, guys? I was there last season saying give Poch time. I was there saying give Potter time. I'm here now saying Maresca time. But again, we can't sack him in December. What good's going to come from that? And again, it's just going to send us into more turmoil. And I'll tell you what's going to start happening. The players are just going to give up as well. And then we're going to be in a whole nother mess, because unfortunately, we've got a lot of players locked into big contracts. And yeah, it's just not going to turn well. And last thing we need is kind of the dressing room going toxic as well. And I think the fans can do so much as well to help the club. I think, again, at times we felt really helpless in the last couple of seasons, just watching our club go through the most, tough and heartbreaking and also strange decisions and just not knowing what to do, really. But I think, seriously, as fans, as support probably means so much. And we see it because, like, a lot of them are just so young. And I sound like a mother here, but just support the players until they give us a reason not to. And yeah, but one thing I'll tell you guys is, not last season, the season before, effort was low. Like, players were just ready to give up. You know, us fans, a lot of fans had given up on the season, but the players had done so before us. And again, you know, the quality may not always be there and things may be looking like they're taking forever to click, but the effort is there. That is one thing for sure. And yes, standards are low. Fans can laugh at us, rival fans can laugh at us, but these players are actually willing to basically play their socks off and earn their spot in this Chelsea side. So yeah, look, it's great to see, and I'm happy to see where this goes. So again, I'm not going to be sitting here saying Joao Felix is a terrible move. It's not. I'm just skeptical, and I'm just open to seeing how and where he fits. But yeah, let's talk about Raheem Sterling though, because I do want to bring up the whole statement thing that dropped. It was very confusing to me because, I mean, I'd seen the statement before I saw the team news as well, because my service was not working at the bridge, and it was just really weird. I saw the statement and I thought, what an odd thing to say, and then obviously realised that he wasn't in the squad, and then apparently he wasn't picked, and he knew that he wasn't going to be picked on Friday, and this whole kind of thing unfolded just before kickoff, and it's really not what you want before your first game, before you're about to walk out and play your first Premier League game against Manchester City. Look, I understand, again, with this whole clarity thing, it's not just you, Raheem Sterling, who's not got clarity with what's happening at Chelsea. Yeah, first and foremost, probably the most important person, Enzo Maresca, who's not got the clarity and he needs it because he's trying to implement a system and quick, is the one that should be complaining about not having clarity yet with who stays and goes. As for the players, I understand that still it's uncertain. You don't know if you're going to be loaned out. You don't know if you're going to play. You don't know if you're going to be on the bench. But ultimately, you're there. You've got a job to fulfill. You've got to train. You've got to earn your spot. Yes, we have loads of players competing for those spots. But if everyone starts sulking that they're not getting game time, then it's just really not going to help anyone, is it? And again, I think with Sterling, there is probably this kind of sense of entitlement because he's our more senior player, he's experienced, and again, it's his former club as well, whom he's lifted, 4 Premier League titles with. So I guess there's a kind of like, sense of entitlement that he maybe feels disrespected, and his camp said that he'd come back to train early, and which is great. It's what we want to see from our players. Please do train, come to training. But, you know, he's on expensive wages. He earns a lot of money. He has underperformed for the expectations in, you know, the last 2 seasons when we've signed him. If you guys remember, him and Aubameyang were meant to be the Premier League proven forwards that we bagging us goals. And at times it felt like we were supposed to give Sterling time when actually we signed supposedly a Premier League proven forward who shouldn't really be given time. You know, give time to the young wingers, but Sterling, we expected so much more, and at times, you know, his attitude wasn't great, but equally he was involved in some games in preseason. Obviously, he got a goal, didn't he? But he has come clutch, I guess, in a lot of games where he hasn't played well. And I think that's the one thing with Raheem Sterling is you can criticise him, but he'll pull off a goal or an assist when we need it. But it's a new season. A lot of players are fighting for those spots. So on obviously his camp's behalf, they will want to know, you know, if he's not in the plans, let's get this kind of big money move sorted or whatever. But you can't simply be demanding to know exactly what happens here and now when the rest of the players are too. So I do kind of get with Maresca's response to that. I think he replied in quite a sensible way, in my opinion, as to, yeah, well, I want Raheem Sterling, but I also want, you know, 30 other players, but we can't have them all. So I think, yeah, I think the timing with the statement just really was off. If every player that wasn't picked that day put out a statement, then yeah, I just don't really know. Sam, yeah, exactly. There you go. The timing of the statement might have been the worst part. They gave Sterling a 325k a week. Why wouldn't they give Victor something similar? Well, see, this is a question, and again, let me get into my fantasy kind of ideal here, utopian world. This is me and my overthinking here, but how do I even phrase this? Because it makes sense in my head, but when we kind of dropped out of the Samu Morodion deal and that whole kind of thing unfolded with we're not signing him, we're pulling out. Obviously, he's a striker, yes, an unproven one, but someone that we could have brought in. And then the whole thing with the kind of wanting to obviously send off Lukaku to Napoli, and that whole talk opened up. That was kind of in a very quick succession to us pulling out to Samuel Morodi, and we were finally like, okay, we're gonna offload Lukaku. That's been a target for as long as we have literally talked about Lukaku going. Could potentially there be a deal now going on for like a Victor Osimhen? And we were shortly informed that yes, that was the case, that there were talks. Chelsea was saying that, they're two separate deals and that they don't really have anything to do with each other. But then I thought to myself, surely that makes sense that we're not going to go in for Samuel Morodion if we might potentially be signing someone like a Victor Osimhen, because it would make sense, right? And now if we're trying to potentially move Sterling on and he's now not part of the plans, those are some expensive big wages that we'll be offloading. If Sterling goes, does it make room for someone like a Victor Osimhen to earn perhaps not the wages that he does earn at Napoli, because I do understand those are quite extortionate, and we've just been revising our wage structure. So I don't know, it could be sending a bit of a bad message if we're willing to pay those wages, but give him a base salary, and then incentives are there. Perform, score goals, you'll get more, you'll be rewarded for that. And at the end of the day, you're coming to Chelsea, I'm sure he'll be open to that. But never say never, guys. There could be something in the works. I'm not getting my hopes up, don't want to get your hopes up too, but it could make sense as to why perhaps things have unfolded the way they have in this transfer window. And there's still time. There is still time, that is for sure. So we will see how that pans out. But yeah, bring me a striker. Honestly, this has been a hanging over problem for the longest time now. What is happening? Who is going to be scoring our goals? How and where do goals come from? And when we finally now in the last kind of couple windows brought in these in the last 3 windows, we've brought in so many creative players, playmakers that can provide the service, but they're providing the service for whom? Again, Jackson hit great numbers last season, not going to take away from it, but I always like to bring up conversion because I think that's quite important. There's a lot of games where there was very, what's the word? Easy chances to put away. Let's not forget Chelsea were leading the XG table for a very long time, probably still are, we're the XG kings, but the goals aren't there. It's just the XG, not the G. And while that's great and we are creating more chances, what's the point if they're not being put away? I don't care about leading XG. I want the goals being put away. And you do worry because you look at Jackson and you think, okay, if you can still provide the numbers and then we've got other wingers around you also scoring goals, then great, but you do worry. And I think, again, there's going to be a lot of games where you're going to have to rotate. You're going to have someone like a Mark Gill, still can't pronounce, still working on his name pronunciation, but Mark Gill, someone for perhaps, in a Europa Conference League game. Europa Conference League, yeah. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Losing my words here. Let's see what you guys are saying. 44 of you guys now here. Thank you very much for everyone that's joined this live. If you've not liked the live, please like the live. It helps me out massively. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe as well. Let's have a look to see if there's anything new dropping around our club. We're so busy. Everyone's talking about us. We're just too fun, too chaotic, too dramatic. Strikers earn more money. Yeah, they do, to be fair. You have to spend big if you want to get yourself a good striker. That's just the reality. That's just how the modern market is. If you want a good striker, you're going to have to pull out the money. It's a scarce market out there. And of course, teams are going to demand more because they can afford to. They bring goals, so Osimhen will earn most wage bill slashed. Oh, yeah, for sure. Daniel says, can we not rely everything on Cole Palmer this season? Like last season, I want to see other players step up. Absolutely. And I keep saying, and for those of you who have heard me make this point, sorry, close your ears, or you're going to hear it again. But truly, if Cole Palmer wasn't there last season, if he didn't hit the numbers he did, where do Chelsea find themselves in? Seriously, even if Jackson remains with the numbers that he did, where are Chelsea? Like, that's just the problem, right? And you can't rely on someone like Cole Palmer to continue doing that for you. We truly just do need a striker, and we say this every window now, and it's just time that we address it. Everyone brings up the money. You spent $1 billion, you spent $2 billion. Yeah, but guess what? We still don't actually have a clinical number 9. And it's just almost funny to think that, you know, we're now how many years into the new ownership, and, you know, we still kind of haven't really addressed this situation. Big up Nina Winstanley out. As long as it's not Maresca, I'll let you off with that. XG and Real G's, Action Jackson needs a mentor. That's the thing. And you do see the lack of experience there. You know, the know-how, just the instinct of when you put it away, when you don't take an extra touch, when you don't lay it off and take it upon yourself to take that responsibility. Because again, he does the good things, but then he's just so frustrating at times. And I truly think we would have been in an FA Cup final last year as well, on top of the Carabao Cup, if Jackson finished some easy chances. See, and it's just so easy to say, like, what if? It's just so close, and yet this is what it's been coming down to, kind of not having that target man in the middle. And the thing with Jackson, and I guess that's not really his fault, because I think that's quite a strong element to his game. When he comes from deep, he's quite effective. At times we almost thought he was better off as a winger last season. And okay, if that's the case, then great, join the winger party. But who is up top? Who's up top? Yes, Richie Osman next. Let's make it happen. What do you think of Jamie Carragher speaking about our club? He's hating on everything we're doing. Let him hate. Let him hate. It doesn't bother me what Jamie Carragher has to say, seriously. I mean, I think I found it quite funny that he said, where is Joao Felix going to get changed? But yeah, look, people can laugh at our club. We're going to focus on ourselves. People can say, people can hate, whatever. But I'm getting behind my club and I'm backing it. So everyone can say whatever they want. Too embarrassing. Lol. Get me Osimhen. Get me Osimhen. Yes. This is just gonna make this the title of the video. Get me Osimhen. Can't stand Spikey Carragher, but he's not wrong, sadly. The chaos is part of the charm of supporting Chelsea. Exactly, guys. But are you entertained? Yes, you're entertained. At least there is a variety of emotions that we feel throughout the season. You know, I go through despair, hope, happiness, sadness, heartbreak, despair, and it's just a cycle that continues. Yeah, so let's see what everybody else is saying. We went from Giroud and Tammy to not actually having an out-and-out striker. Yeah, I miss Giroud. We reduced our wage bill already by 100 mil. Surely we can pay Victor the 255k a week gross he is asking for. Pay it. Pay it. Why don't Chelsea sign Osimhen? Well, Gary, $1 million question. But unfortunately, it is a lot more complex than we would wish it to be. I think that, you know, money comes into this one big time, but, you know, we never know. Maybe we just want to make a dramatic deadline day signing, guys. I've been saying it for 2 years. We need a striker. Honestly, Daniel, probably longer than that. My friend Andy always tells Cara to say something nice about us when we see him at the bridge. He never has or does. Yeah, well, let Cara hate. Jackson is trash. I would sell him if we get Osimhen. I think that's a bit of a harsh word to say about Jackson. I don't think he's trash. I think he's a good player. I just think that he's not the he's not the finished striker. He's not a complete striker. That's it. He's got strengths to his game and he's got weaknesses. And perhaps, you know, maybe we hindered his development. Maybe, you know, if he'd stayed in La Liga and he continued to score goals, get regular game time in a league that he was getting comfortable in, then perhaps he maybe flourished. Perhaps there maybe would have been a more kind of well-rounded Nicholas Jackson eventually move away. But again, I think it was just a bit too soon with Jackson. You know, we saw a great second half of the season, him getting goals and assists, but yeah, we decided that he was going to be the guy, and he was great in preseason last year, so we all kind of unanimously let him be that guy. But again, I just think we expect too much. Right. Somebody asked me, how is my brother? Well, how is my brother? If he's watching, which I don't think he is. Sammy, how are you? People ask. Big up my crush Nino, where we are alive. Bring Tony Osimhen. Let them cry more. Honestly, guys. I mean, it's good to see that everyone is pretty keen on Osimhen coming to Chelsea. I think, again, it just goes to show. And in today's world where, you probably only have, like, Daniel says, Tony or Osimhen on the line, who I'd prefer, I'd take Osimhen purely because I just think he fits the profile a little bit better. And again, I mean, Tony, I think the advantage with Tony is he's done it in the Prem. I think that's a pretty big advantage. But again, I just think in terms of consistency, obviously Tony had some time out. I would probably just prefer Osimhen. And again, just the links are cool. Enzo Fernandez. Yeah, I spoke a little bit about Enzo Fernandez. I back Enzo Fernandez. You won't see me or hear me say anything hateful, anything critical of Enzo. I think he's had a rough start. I think just to life at Chelsea in general. He was obviously pretty decent when he first signed. He came in, but for me, I always say the value and the fee that we signed him for, he was kind of almost set up to be scrutinized, to be constantly talked about. And while I agree that he has had tough adjustments, I do think for the majority of last season as well, at times was played out of position, did play through injury. So I think, again, this season, though, will be, let's make judgments on Enzo. But, I mean, even with Maresca setting him up in the 10, again, it inhibits his game. Like, we see a different Enzo playing for Argentina. I just don't think that this is the best position for him. But he's captain now. I think Enzo has made a pretty big statement there that, he does value him and he sees like leadership in him. I mean, you're not really particularly spoiled with players to choose, excuse me, to choose to captain the club at the moment. But yeah, I think it's a lot of responsibility for him. He is under obviously a lot of scrutiny, and rival fans, I mean, will obviously always be the first to come for Enzo. I think maybe I defend him a lot more than other Chelsea fans do. But again, I do see a player with potential there, but unfortunately potential shouldn't cost you 120 million. But in his case, it just did. And if he never cost that much, then he wouldn't be getting anywhere near as much scrutiny as he does. Jackson scored, he was offside. Yeah, well, there you go. We need a striker who can stay on side. Seriously, just it's a self-awareness. I mean, we saw it a lot of times last season where he just gets a little bit too excited and perhaps decision-making at times is a bit irrational. We have had a good striker since Diego Costa. I've been saying it for years. Yeah. Oh, what a reception Diego Costa got last time he came at Stamford Bridge. I mean, yeah, we miss our Costa, we do. Jackson is the potential striker. Yeah, potential, Paul. Potential. There's a lot of potential, Chelsea. The squad will have to take a train rather than a bus at this rate. To be fair, guys, I love the memes. I do. They make me giggle. The memes are funny. The 5-decker bus with a fan saying, "Oh, Chelsea's team bus arriving at Chelsea this season." But it's honestly insane. Like, can you imagine them kind of chatting to each other, getting to know each other, like constantly seeing a new Chelsea player, having a new teammate kind of walk through the door, or one that you've just kind of gotten to know go out on loan, or you don't see him, you train. Like, imagine how much change there is consistently in the dressing room, at the club, players leaving and going, kind of getting to know someone and then leaving for a season or forever. And it's just that constant change, having to introduce yourself to a new manager, having to get to know a new manager, and we kind of talk about it because to us as fans, we kind of looking from the outside in, but they're actually experiencing like this mess firsthand. And I always think about it because I'm like, okay, I'm a fan, I'm just complaining about what I'm seeing, or I'm talking about what I'm seeing, but they're actually experiencing it. It's crazy. What is everybody else saying? I feel like we've talked about Felix, we've talked about Gallagher, we've talked about Sterling. What else is there going on? Jackson is good, he's just not ready. He needs a mentor, international experience. Bowley left the stadium yesterday to get Felix done. Well, actually, Bowley, although he, I'll tell you this firsthand, Bowley obviously got up and left after, I believe, the second goal went in after City scored. Obviously, Kovacic scored. Ouch, that one hurt, by the way. I can't lie. That he basically just ran straight through. It was kind of like a red carpet for Mateo Kovacic back at the bridge. Here you go. Have a clear pathway to the goal and score a rocket. But yeah, besides, back to the point, he didn't actually leave the stadium as soon as obviously that happened, because we were still outside filming the fan cams at least like an hour and a half after, and that's when he walked out, and that's when we saw him walk away. And yes, I can assure you that there were words spoken about get a striker done and dusted. So I don't know how much he's taken that on board, but yeah, he obviously, at least he didn't leave straight away. But it kind of reminds me, because obviously that was the first game last season. Well, no, first game this season that I saw him, and the last time I saw him in that same position was Liverpool, first game of last season, and that's when Moises Caicedo was obviously done, and he kind of left, and obviously that was kind of left in the latter stage of the day after the 1-1 draw, and that was done. So could there be a repeat of a a certain signing? But no, I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, guys, let me know how you guys are feeling about Chelsea's season as a whole. How optimistic are you? I want to kind of get a feel of how you guys are feeling. Do you think that it's possible for Chelsea to have I've just seen my brothers commented, I'm okay, thank you, to the person that asked. And yes, I agree that Jackson is trash. Sammy, that's not very nice. You're not supposed to be saying that Jackson is trash. He's got some weaknesses to his game, okay, but there is a player in there. But yeah, to whoever asked earlier, there we go. My brother's okay and he's watching, so that's good. Make sure you've liked the stream, Sammy. Otherwise, we're going to have words. Do you see Osimhen going to deadline day, and do you think Chelsea will make a final signing? Well, I would like to very much, and I think that hopefully that is again, we like to be dramatic with deadline day signings, so I like to think that we will have an Osimhen announced, or at least a striker, a good striker. Otherwise, I think that we will kind of be otherwise I think we will kind of be a bit unsatisfied with the window as a whole. Because yeah, players keep on coming, but really, how many of the players have you actually been really excited about? And how many players have you said, okay, yeah, they get into the first team, they are going to be regular starters, they fit the plan, they fit the... A lot of them are like, well, what do we do now? Who goes out on loan? Who gets sold? Who stays? Are the fan cams good fans are hanging out after the match? Yeah, honestly, guys, fan cams and just Chelsea fan TV lot have kept us sane. We've kept each other sane in the last 2 years, and yeah, I mean, it's great after a game just to have people that have watched the same game and have felt the atmosphere, felt the feeling, and you just being able to kind of, dwell on that together. But seriously, like in the last 2 years, with particularly the season before when things were so dull and negative, it was just great to have each other. So yeah, shout out to everyone that does the fan cams and hangs around after. I'll tell you what, it's not that fun in winter when it's like 0 degrees or 2 degrees and you're hanging outside like at 11 p.m. Talking about Chelsea potentially sacking another manager. But yeah, no, it's great fun. How about what it's see, it's gotten to nearly an hour, guys, and I can no longer speak. How about talk about, okay, well, Craig, you've not typed that out very well. What is going on with Chilwell, another player that is basically getting pushed out by Maresca? Yeah, it's interesting you raised that point, actually, because I think that Chilwell is another player that could potentially be leaving. He has divided opinion now for the longest time, but it's no secret to anyone that our Champions League winning Chilwell has kind of, really evaporated in a sense, and it's a lot to do with injury and him just being in and out constantly. But I don't know if Chilwell is going to be part of the plans moving forward. I don't think Maresca wants him to be either. I don't agree necessarily with the way it's done. And again, I think we should be placing a little bit more value on these players, because at the end of the day, like it or not, there are no Chelsea players anymore, really, from obviously your Champions League winning squad. If Chilwell goes, then you're kind of just left with Reece James in the kind of first team players. But yeah, I think it's sad. But again, I'm not going to let sentimentality kind of get in the way of this one. It could be sensible if he's just not going to be available and fit, and we have better options moving forward. And again, it's Enzo. I'll back whatever Enzo kind of thinks. You kind of have to, right? You kind of have to. So let's see what some of you are saying for expectations. Win the Conference League 100% and at least top 7. So would you then, Michael, take winning the Conference League and not getting Champions League football? We must win Conference League and get a trophy. So do you mean win the Conference League and get another trophy? Newcastle want Chilwell. Right then, the harsh reality is we are miles off Man City. We're at 40% capacity and will still lose 2-0. Sanchez is awful. Get rid now. Yeah, I mean, worlds apart. I mean, Man City didn't even need to come out for second gear, and I think this was like another kind of warm-up game for their actual Premier League campaign. Oh, Spurs are now 1-0. Who has scored? That's interesting. To be fair, yeah, I mean, I'm not overly surprised. I do think Tottenham would probably win this one, but yeah, I don't imagine that the fans have made it too easy for the travelling Spurs fans. I think it's going to be quite up and down for a few months, but I'm optimistic we can play some good football at times and hopefully finish well. I'm optimistic, but realistically, how about you? Let me just plug in my laptop, guys, because I've drained it by talking so much. All good. So I'm optimistic but realistic. How about you? I like that. I'm optimistic but realistic too. I think, again, we're going to have, if you think that it's all going to kind of hit the ground running and we'll be in a great position winning games, as much as I would love that with our new manager bounce, I think it's going to be a bit tougher than that, at least until Maresca works out who his kind of best starting 11 are, and then can kind of interchange as we play different games, different tournaments, different, cups, competitions, whatever you want to call them. I think it will be tough, and I don't think it will be as smooth sailing. I do worry about Wolves as well, and I think what I worry most about is that the fan base will lose. And again, and I can't blame fans for being impatient perhaps so much, but I do ask that you at least give time for us to see Maresca kind of try and implement his style and his thing, because yes, I know we've kind of been saying this a lot, but we are starting with a new manager. Hopefully though, with the players he has, if we can bring in a striker, things are made easier, and hopefully we can stay with as few injuries as possible throughout the season, then I think we could be in a good place to compete for Champions League football. However, I do want us winning a trophy. I think I agree, Conference League or domestic cup, I think we need to win silverware. I think it would be great for Maresca to win something in his first season, because it does install a little bit more faith, but it means that these young players get their hands on some silverware, and us fans as well. Oh my god, if we can win a trophy would be great. Arthur says 9th place. I would say for you, without a finisher and without a squad, Moral mostly likely 9th. Well, I mean, you look at other teams who are competing for those spots up there, in and around 4th to like 6th, 7th, and 8th. Most of those teams have a striker or someone that's clinical and lethal. It could certainly be the difference of you getting top 4 and, and not. It's really as simple as that. And as much as I'd love to think that all our wingers are going to be clinical and our playmakers are going to be clinical, I still think it's so important. You look at Arsenal, even Arsenal might struggle without signing perhaps a number 9 or having a actual... Wow, guys, I've just realised that I've nearly taken it up to an hour, but we'll round out soon. Osimhen's wages are cheaper than Sterling's, just saying. Great. Chilwell, time to go. So, yeah, a lot of fans are kind of getting used to that. On the Enzo Fernandez situation, should the Argentinian national team should also be blamed of what happened in the incident? Yeah, absolutely agree on that. At least not be in the same competition next year. I wouldn't mind Europa, but competition for Champions League is very high this year. Exactly. That is very true. Vardy scored. Well, Vardy's back scoring in the Premier League. Surprise, surprise. I agree what you say on fan cam sometimes on Chelsea Fan TV. Only sometimes. I'll take that, Daniel. Thank you. I find it intellectually difficult to be a Chelsea fan these days. One has to believe the club's management has a plan that will work out in the end, but the present is filled with many uncertainties. Very true. That is a very good point. It's funny, before the season we all said we would give Maresca time. One game in, people already asking, did we make the right decision? This is at least a full season. Yeah, but that's the thing, and if we lose to Wolves as well, I fear that this is going to kind of instantly be heightened and toxicity will start to spread, because Yeah, I just fear for him. I hope we can get a win, and I hope that we can start to see kind of signs of where we are headed as a team, as a club, so that it doesn't get to it. Because again, I think the moment it kind of gets toxic again at Chelsea is the moment where things just automatically start to cause our downfall. But yes, guys, I'm going to round this one out shortly as we've reached the hour mark. If you have not liked the stream, please do so. It really helps me out. Obviously, Conference League coming up this week. Again, I'm excited. I'll get myself down there. We'll do a separate video talking about that. But I hope that you guys have enjoyed this stream. I hope that you are at least a little bit positive about the season. I hope you're at least a little bit kind of open to seeing it unfold and give, Maresca time. Oh, hello, David. It's nice to see you in here. I don't think Fernandes fits well in the team. We are a better team without him in the starting 11. Fair enough. I mean, David, you're not alone in that. I hope we don't get Duran. I don't want him. Yeah. If you're talking about Jean Duran, yeah, neither do I, to be honest. And yeah, no, thank you. I'm good, Richie. Thank you very much. And thanks for tuning in. Sam, ciao, Nina. Have a great week. Thank you so much, Sam. Have a great week yourself and everyone else watching. Thank you so much if you've stayed, if you watched just even a bit of this stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate every single one of you who tune into my content, support it, comment, like, share, everything. Just really massively helps out. And hopefully we can have a positive season. I want to be sitting here talking to you guys about how Chelsea's moving in the right direction, how we're achieving our goals slowly but surely. We all obviously want that. But yeah, I guess it's not going to be easy. So strap in, prepare yourselves, maybe start meditating, get yourself into some sort of, I don't know, maybe start doing some Zen kind of, just a practice where you can kind of cool off a little bit, prep yourselves before and after Chelsea games so that you feel a bit more relaxed. But yeah, anyways, guys, it's been unreal. I'll catch you guys soon. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you have a lovely evening. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. And yeah, up the Chelsea.